At 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., stands a building known worldwide. It is perhaps one of the most photographed structures on Earth. This building has a long and difficult history. It survived being attacked and burned in a war, only to be rebuilt stronger than before. Its inner parts have been changed and fixed many times, sometimes because they were falling apart from age. It has seen big changes in how the country is run, and it has stood firm through all of them, watching presidents and nations come and go. This building is a testament to American resilience. It shows the strength of a nation that always finds a way to move forward, no matter the challenge. The White House is more than just an address. It is a living story. It tells us about power, about facing difficult choices, and about what a country decides to show the world through its most important house. Many people think of the White House as a grand and huge palace. However, compared to the palaces built for kings and queens in Europe, it is quite a modest home. It has 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, and beautiful gardens. But it was never meant to be a show of extreme wealth or royal power. The people who started the United States, known as the founders, chose this design on purpose. They did not want a grand palace for the president. They wanted a house that showed the new country was different from the old kingdoms with their grand buildings and ruling families.
This careful choice teaches us much about their hopes for the nation and its leaders. This book will take you on a detailed journey through the life of this special building. We will explore its original creation, learning about who designed it and how it was first built from stone. We will then see its dramatic destruction during the War of 1812, when British soldiers set it on fire. After that, we will follow its many rebuilds and changes, seeing how it kept evolving to fit the needs of each new president and the growing country through more than 2 centuries. This is the complete story of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, a true American landmark. Our journey begins with the very first steps of the house's construction. We will meet the people behind its design and the challenges they faced in a new capital city. But there is a deeper, less-known truth about its beginnings. This introduction ends with a hint about the dark, hidden foundations of the building. These are the parts of the story that history books sometimes tried to forget or did not fully explain. This will leave you eager to discover who truly built the famous white walls of America's most iconic house. We will uncover this important truth together. 2. Building the house. The young American nation needed a home for its president. In 1792, a special competition was held to find the best design. It was a romantic idea. Artists and builders from different places sent in their plans.
Many people tried to win, hoping their design would become the symbol of the new country. The winning plan came from an Irish immigrant named James Hoban. His design was chosen because it looked strong and elegant, taking inspiration from a grand house in Dublin, Ireland called Leinster House. This Irish house is now where Ireland's Parliament meets. But there was a secret in the competition. Historians believe that one of the plans, sent without a name, was actually from Thomas Jefferson himself. He was a very important person, serving as Secretary of State. Jefferson wanted to shape the look of the new capital, but his anonymous design did not win. Hoban's vision won the day, creating the basic shape of the president's house we know today. Even though the original plans were for a much larger palace, Congress decided to build a smaller, more modest house. Construction began, taking 8 years to complete. The cost was about $232,000, which is like millions today. But the true cost was far greater and hidden for many years. The capital city was new and far from big towns, so to find workers, the leaders turned to African Americans, both free and very often enslaved. These enslaved people did much of the difficult and dangerous work. They helped dig stones from a quarry in Virginia called Aquia Creek. They cut the rough stone into proper shapes. They worked next to European craftsmen and other free workers. These enslaved workers were not paid for their hard labor. Instead, their owners received the money. This meant the enslaved people got nothing for their sweat and effort. Over 200 enslaved individuals are known to have worked on the White House and the nearby Capitol building. Even James Hoban, the architect, owned 4 enslaved men, Tom, Peter, Ben, and Harry, who helped build the house he designed. This part of the story shows a deep contradiction at the heart of America's beginning. A house built for freedom by people who were not free. By November 1, 1800, the house was still not ready. John Adams, the second president, and his wife Abigail moved in. The plaster was still wet, and the gardens were a muddy mess. It was cold inside. Abigail Adams famously used the large east room, which was not finished, to hang her family's laundry to dry. The young republic was taking its first steps in its new home. The first peaceful transfer of power had happened, but its leaders now lived in an unfinished, freezing building. Would this young government survive in its harsh new environment? 3. The Great Fire. On August 24, 1814, a scary night came to Washington, D.C. A war was happening between the young United States and Britain. British soldiers marched into the city. America's army was not ready. The British won easily in a battle called Bladensburg. President James Madison was away, helping his generals.
His wife, Dolly Madison, was still inside, preparing to leave. As British troops came closer, Dolly Madison worked quickly to save important things. She gathered silver and other valuable items. A famous story says she saved a large painting of George Washington by cutting it from its frame. This popular legend is not completely true. Paul Jennings, a young enslaved valet who worked there, wrote what really happened. He said 2 other men were the true heroes. The doorkeeper, John Soucet, and the gardener, McGraw, carefully took the big portrait down. It needed a ladder. They sent it away safely on a wagon with other treasures. The British soldiers entered the White House. They found food in the kitchen and ate the president's dinner, using his plates and silver. After eating, they wanted to cause great damage. They piled up furniture and bedding, then soaked these items with lamp oil. Soon the entire building was ablaze. The roaring fire quickly consumed everything inside. Only the black, empty outer walls were left standing. The next morning, the British looked for more things to burn. But then a terrible accident happened. Gunpowder barrels exploded, and 30 British soldiers died. Because of this, the British Army decided to leave Washington. As they left, a strange and fortuitous natural event took place. A massive storm, some said even a tornado, suddenly appeared over the burning city. Heavy rain poured down, helping to put out the many fires.
The burning of the Capitol shocked everyone. Many people thought the government should leave Washington forever and move to another city, like Philadelphia or New York. But the original architect, James Hoban, was called back. He was given a clear instruction: rebuild the house exactly as it had been before. This act of rebuilding became a strong statement about the resilience of the young country. Even after being attacked and burned, America would not give up. But would this sudden, freak weather truly be enough to save the skeleton of democracy's home? Or would the government still be forced to abandon Washington forever? 4. A house for the people. The White House was a very public place back then. Ordinary citizens could simply walk right through its front door. This was a wild era where the line between public and private was often blurred. This openness sometimes led to unexpected and even difficult situations. A famous example is Andrew Jackson's first inauguration in 1829. After the ceremony, his supporters flooded into the White House. The crowd was so large and excited that they stood on furniture, broke dishes, and caused a truly chaotic scene. President Jackson himself had to escape out of a window to find some quiet. To get the many guests to leave, large tubs of punch were placed outside on the lawn, drawing the crowd away from the damaged building.
This period showed how much the White House was seen as belonging to everyone, sometimes to an extreme degree. During the hard years of the Civil War, the White House became a place of deep emotion. President Abraham Lincoln lived there, carrying a heavy burden. He was often grief-stricken by the many deaths and the pain of a divided country. He walked the noisy public hallways, trying to keep a fractured nation together. The house was not quiet. It was often filled with people seeking help or advice. Lincoln met with his generals and other important leaders, making decisions that would shape the fate of the Union. He even had the house repainted, inside and out, because he believed it was important for the symbol of American leadership to look strong and respectable during such a difficult time. The tension in the president's office reached its peak on New Year's Day in 1863. That morning, Lincoln had spent hours shaking hands with visitors, and his arm felt stiff and numb. But he had a crucial document to sign: the Emancipation Proclamation. This act would declare millions of enslaved people free. He picked up his pen, his hand trembling slightly from exhaustion and the morning's activities. He worried that people might think his shaking hand meant he was unsure of his decision. He said he had never felt more certain he was doing right, but the physical strain was clear. He needed strong resolve to complete this historic task. If his hand trembled too much, history might unfairly question his commitment in this truly profound moment for the nation. But anyway, he told himself, it is going to be done. And so, with a firm will, he signed. 5. The Big Fix. When Theodore Roosevelt became president in 1901, his family was very large and active. They simply needed more space than the White House had. To solve this, his offices moved from the main residence. They went into a new, smaller building called the Executive Office Building.
Today we know this as the West Wing. It was a simple one-story structure at first. Later, President William Howard Taft made the West Wing bigger in 1909. This is when the famous Oval Office was created. Its special oval shape allowed the president to see everyone who came in and speak to groups without anyone being hidden in a corner. The Oval Office has since become perhaps the most recognizable room in the world. Roosevelt also made the popular name the White House official in 1901. Before that, it was often called the Executive Mansion. Years later, when Harry Truman was president in 1945, the White House faced a serious crisis. It was getting very old, and parts of it were rotting. Engineers found that the wooden beams holding up the floors were weak. The pipes and electric wires were also very outdated. The building was in a dangerous state.
A clear sign of the problem came when a piano leg belonging to Margaret Truman, the president's daughter, broke right through her second-floor sitting room floor. It showed that the building was in terrible danger of a complete collapse. The White House was not just old, it was genuinely unsafe. President Truman made a very bold decision. He said they must fix the building completely. The architects decided to do something never done before. They removed everything inside the White House, from top to bottom. Only the fragile outer stone walls were left standing. This was a massive demolition of the interior. The Truman family moved out for 4 years, living across the street at Blair House from 1948 to 1952. During this huge reconstruction, workers built a new strong steel frame inside the old walls. They dug a new 2-story basement and laid a new foundation. The original sandstone walls were made stronger with concrete and steel. New features like a gymnasium, a movie theater, and air conditioning were also installed. This entire renovation cost about $5.7 million at the time. Many old historical details were lost, which made some people sad, but the White House was saved. It was now structurally sound and ready for the future. The question was, could the historic outer walls truly survive such massive internal work? 6. Making it beautiful. When Jacqueline Kennedy came to the White House in 1961, she found its inside looked dreary and boring. She thought it was empty of important old things. Earlier leaders had often taken items from the house when they left. This meant the White House had lost much of its rich history. There were no laws to stop this from happening. Jacqueline Kennedy wanted to change this situation. She believed the White House should not just be decorated with new things. She wanted it to be restored. This meant bringing back its true history and making it look like it did in important past times. She called this a question of scholarship, not just decorating. It was a big and passionate crusade for her. She worked hard to find lost historical items that belonged in the president's house. She searched for old furniture, paintings, and decorations that had been there before. She even created a special committee to help her. Jacqueline Kennedy also worked to make big changes legally. Before her time, presidents could take things with them or sell items. But in September 1961, a new law was passed by Congress. This law said that the White House was now a protected museum. It meant that all gifts and old things in the house must stay there. No one could take them away for themselves. This rule helped to keep the White House a living museum for all American people. It protected the house from being changed too much in the future by new families moving in. She even helped create a new job, the White House curator, to watch over these historical items. To show all the new changes and the beautiful old items she found, Jacqueline Kennedy did something never done before. In February 1962, She gave a live tour of the White House on television. This was a very big event, broadcast on 3 main TV networks. About 50 million people watched the show across the country. Many people saw the inside of the White House for the first time. They saw how its history was now carefully shown. She even won a special award for her work on the TV show. This televised tour was a big gamble. Would people like her careful work and her refined tastes for the house? Or would her expensive ideas cause a big political problem, a scandal for her husband, President John F. Kennedy? The public's reaction would decide if this new way of looking at the White House as a shared museum would be a success for the nation. 7. Secrets and Stories. The White House holds many untold stories within its famous rooms. For example, the well-known Lincoln bedroom has a surprising secret. Many people believe President Abraham Lincoln slept there, but that is not true at all. This room was actually his grueling office, where he worked tirelessly through the Civil War. He held critical meetings, debated big ideas, and made very difficult choices for the nation, like signing the Emancipation Proclamation.
So when guests stay there today, they are not resting where Lincoln slept. Instead, they are in a room filled with the history of his heavy burden and the weight of his historic decisions. Beyond the truth of its rooms, the house is also famous for its eerie folklore. Many people, including world leaders, have reported strange and spooky events. The most famous ghost is often said to be Abraham Lincoln himself. Eleanor Roosevelt, who lived in the White House as First Lady, claimed she could feel his presence in the Lincoln bedroom. Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, visited during World War II. He reportedly refused to sleep in that room after a strange, unexplained encounter with something he could not understand. Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands, another guest during the war, supposedly fainted after opening her bedroom door and seeing Lincoln standing in the hallway. These stories keep the idea of these important leaders alive in the building's memory. From these supernatural tales, we move to highly classified truths. During World War II, a secret underground bunker was quickly built. This construction was hidden from public view under the official reason of a garden expansion near the East Wing. The East Wing itself, built in 1942, seemed like a simple addition of offices, but its real secret purpose was to cover the building of the Presidential Emergency Operations Center.
This underground space was designed to protect the president and his staff from any enemy attacks. This deep secrecy, especially during a time of war, reminds us that the White House has always had hidden parts, private depths beneath its public face. It makes one wonder, what other important classified secrets are still buried beneath the president's lawn, kept hidden from the world? The House today. The White House today is very different from its early days. It used to rely on horse messengers for news. Now it is a very modern place for media and communication. President Calvin Coolidge made the first radio address from there in 1923. Television quickly followed, transforming the presidency and making the president a public figure seen by many. The Carter administration brought the first computer and laser printer to the House. Later, under George H.W. Bush in 1992, the Internet arrived, allowing even faster communication. Today, the White House uses social media accounts, YouTube, and sophisticated digital tools to talk to millions of people instantly.
This rapid transformation would surely amaze early presidents like John Adams, who once hung laundry in the unfinished East Room. One important addition in 1969 was the press briefing room. It was cleverly built over President Franklin Roosevelt's old swimming pool. This room is now a famous backdrop for thousands of press briefings, where the president's team talks to reporters from around the world.
It clearly shows how important the media is to the White House's daily work and its relationship with the public. However, this historic house also faces new challenges. Security has become much stricter over the years, especially after the September 11, 2001 attacks. Fences, barriers, and restricted access now limit how close the public can get. This creates an ongoing question: who truly owns this house? Is it the president who lives there for a few years, making their own changes, or the American people for all time? This question highlights a fierce, ongoing battle over its stewardship. Recently, there have been many public arguments about changes to the House. In 2020, President Donald Trump changed the Rose Garden. Then, in 2025, plans began for a large new ballroom, which involved tearing down part of the East Wing. This project quickly became very controversial. Some worried greatly about the high cost and how it would change the historic building's appearance and feel. The National Trust for Historic Preservation even filed a lawsuit to stop the ballroom construction. This shows the constant tension between keeping history alive and allowing a president to make their mark. The White House is more than just a building. It is a powerful symbol of American democracy. It reflects our highest ideals and also our past problems and mistakes. It has seen countless changes and many different leaders.
It holds many contradictions, like being built by enslaved people, but later becoming home to an African American president. The White House continues to be a central part of the American story. It is not a finished monument. It is a living, breathing argument about what democracy means, who it is for, and how far it still needs to go. It is a conversation that never truly ends. If you could spend one night in any historical room of the White House, which one would you choose and why? Leave a comment below.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.